Mentone and Cheltenham Railway Station Integrated Development Opportunity Sites. Do I have a motion? Councillor Hill. The officer recommendation or the alternative? The alternative, so not the officer recommendation. We'll just scroll down. Thank you. So it's moved. Councillor Hill, can you just confirm that that's what you're happy to move? Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor White. Thank you. Do you wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Hill?
Thank you. And I'd also like to acknowledge our friends from Save the Tower Group who are here with us this evening also. This amendment proposes major changes to 4 key sites near Cheltenham and Mentone Railway Station and has been put forward by the Minister for Planning following a request from Hallmark Developments and the Level Crossing Removal Project. It would rezone land parcels to Schedule 6 of the Special Use Zone and apply Schedule 18 to the specific control overlay, so all very technical, sorry. Whilst I want to be clear that I'm very supportive of the views put forward by our Save the Tower group, I note the report highlights that these sites have been flagged for redevelopment since the final design plans were released in 2019. Council's submission now must respond directly to what the draft amendment proposes, including the proposed 6-storey building on the Mentone site. It also is worth noting too that Mentone was recently identified by state government as a priority activity centre, and there are precedents in other activity centres where we've invested in public realm improvements such as Horsecroft Place in Moorabbin, where we purchased land to create a pocket park in an area lacking in open space. So Council has invested heavily in these areas during the LXRP's construction, also since completion, with significant public realm upgrades, structure planning and years of community engagement. So it's obviously critical that our long-standing planning work, including Cheltenham Structure Plan Review and Mentone Urban Design Framework, is reflected in whatever goes ahead. This is why dot point 1 in the officer recommendation matters. If we don't make a strong submission, we risk losing our say in how these key public land sites evolve, and that would be a huge missed opportunity. Now, where I would liken that to is when we were presented with the proposal for elevated rail in Parkdale, we could have taken a number of pathways with that. We ultimately, whilst supporting the community and their position on elevated rail in that location, we also put forward a position that if elevated rail was to go forward, we would like to see these certain improvements in the design. Now, as it worked out, that's the direction the government took, but what we've actually finished with is really significantly better than what would have happened had a council not put forward their position, with really quite significant improvements. And it really shows the area around the elevated rail in Parkdale. I know people are really enjoying that and noticing the improvements that came about as a result of council's work. First and foremost, we do support the idea of redevelopment, but the current draft lacks critical urban design detail, clarity in building heights, improvements of street level design, enhancing walkable cycling links. This is with regards to Cheltenham. Encouraging mixed-use development, strengthening sustainability and aligning planning controls with the ACZ rezoning are all things that are captured in the officer recommendation. In Mentone, we're concerned that the proposed 6-storey building would dominate the heritage station area, and if development was to occur, we'd prefer a maximum of 3 to 4 storeys in line with the local character. We also want to see reduced basement size to protect space for trees and landscaping. What's suggested in dot point 2, however, is to put forward our preferred outcome of a open space outcome within that particular area. And then with dot point 3, failing that, if that was not to be supported by the government, then we would then put forward an a proposition whereby we would request that the Mentone IDO site be removed from the amendment until such time that the Mentone Activity Centre Planning review is completed, which we believe would be much better time to consider the site holistically. I'll just request an extension if possible, please.
I'll grant an extension of 2 minutes through the chair.
Thank you.
Mindful you do have a closing as well, so.
Yeah, okay. Given the shortage of open space that exists in Mentone, I do believe there is an argument, but I think this will be fleshed out far better through doing the activity centre work and the review of the activity centre. It may well uncover exactly that this site is actually right for open space. And it may well be that is an argument that's better put forward to government at the time, but I do think it's also worthy of putting forward point 2, where we request that up front also. Just in closing, this submission isn't about blocking development, it's about getting it right. We've done a lot of groundwork, we've set visions, we've engaged with our community. Our submission puts forward a clear constructive design principle that will help shape a more connected, livable and character-sensitive outcome for both stations. And everything considered, I hope that my councillor colleagues will be happy to support this also. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Councillor White?
Are we doing any advocacy around this in our advocacy meeting that we had the other night? Is it a...
I'll direct that question through to Mr Goodman.
Through you, Madam Mayor, in response to Councillor White's question, we were invited to a community rally some weeks ago, and we attended that rally with the local member for Sandringham, myself and Councillor Hill. We also, based on the community interest in this matter, felt it was important to also brief a member of the government, so we had the opportunity of doing that about a week ago, maybe a fortnight ago, where we briefed one of the members, I think it's for the southeastern area of the government, for the upper house, Mr Batchelor, who'd taken an interest in this as well, and we did reinforce the tension that is in the recommendation before you about the amendment request vis-a-vis also the opportunity for open space as well. So we've already done some proactive advocacy. As you can see in the recommendation before you, if the recommendation was to be supported as drafted, it would require 2 things that I think would lead to further advocacy. One would be to write formally to the state government with respect to point 2. And the other would be to then agitate as well under point 3 to the state government to delay the decision in Mentone. So we have done some preemptive advocacy work, but until we have a formal position of council, we probably can't take it to the next step. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Goodman.
Yes, thank you for that. So I think that might be a good thing for our council to look at. I don't know what I need to say about this. I live in Mentone, and I just can't tell you, the level crossing removal seems like, good idea, doesn't it? Who doesn't want less congestion? But what we get instead is the government deciding to replace the level crossing removals with as many sets of traffic lights they can fit in 100 metres so that you can't get in and out of your suburb. So it is just wild, like that intersection is at gridlock. And the fact that they would consider putting 6 stories on that, and the fact that we could think that 4 stories would be okay, I'm not sure how that would work. Anyway, I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm just as frustrated as everyone else about this whole thing. And I'm sorry I couldn't make the protest to the community as well. I was actually working that day. But, this is where we live and it's getting, ripped up in front of us. So That's just about all I wanted to say. I did help Jonathan and Councillor Hill come up with these amendments to make sure that hopefully it is kept as open space. You know, and I don't even like the idea of going, well, you know, we'll just give them 4 stories and then, you know, and then at least that way it's not going to be 6. Like, oh my gosh, no. You just shouldn't even build on that site.
Thank you, Councillor White. Are there any other councillors wishing to speak to this item? There being none, Councillor Hill, do you wish to close?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Oxley. And yeah, I'm sorry, I should have also acknowledged and thanked Councillor White for her help with drafting this amendment also. I also wanted to call out to Mr Gutman and our team for all the work that they've done, and I'm sure that our community and members of Save the Tower have really appreciated the time that they've made available. And I think where we've actually landed is, sometimes we've got to be really thoughtful and strategic with the way we approach certain things. And I think with the staggered sort of nature of what's being put in front of us tonight, we have a situation whereby, you know, to put it bluntly, if the government decides to not support any of our requests and just move forward with the development on the site, at least we've put forward an option that would suggest that we can actually have a more considered development on that site. Obviously, our preference would be that the voice of our community are listened to. But I think too, even with dot point 3, if it was supported to just remove that particular site from the amendment until such time as the review was done for the Mentone Activity Centre, that it then facilitates and enables much more community consultation than would otherwise be the case. So, you know, I think any way you cut it, I think we're putting our very, very best foot forward, and I really do appreciate the advice that we get from our officers on this, because it is actually very technical and quite confusing to the layman. So I'm really confident that this is really the best way to address this. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Just for governance, in point 3, where it says designate the Mentone IDO site as public open, I think that should say space. Thank you. I will put that to the vote. All those in favour? That is Councillor Agatan, Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Hill, Councillor Law, Councillor Ravnidis, Councillor Howe, Councillor Saab, Councillor Ashworth Collett, Councillor Athanasopoulos and myself. All those against and abstaining, Councillor White. And that is carried. Thank you. Item 8.1, the response to the notice of motion, the Kingston Arts Precinct Master Plan. Do I have a motion? Councillor Saab? Oh. Councillor Saab? Councillor Howe, do you want a second? Councillor Howe. He was too quick. Councillor Saab? Reserve? Councillor Howe? Reserve? Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Law?
Thank you, Mayor. I support the Kingston Arts Precinct redevelopment and the proposed concept design for the Kingston Arts Centre.